shade. Those phones are an Oliver project. When you use one, you aren't to consider it secure, whether for voice, text, or email. But since this is England, really, you aren't to consider any phone secure. Understood? You don't trust Oliver? Milgram asked. I don't, said Big End. What I want you to do now is to go about your business as though you hadn't noticed being photographed. Simply that. What is my business? Asked Milgram. Did you like Hollis Henry? Asked Big End. She seemed familiar, Milgram said. She was a singer, Big End said, in a band, the Curfew. Milgram remembered a large, silvery, black and white photograph, a poster, a younger Hollis Henry with her knee up, her foot on something, a tweed miniskirt that seemed mostly to have unraveled, drawn taut. Where had he seen that? You'll be working with her, said Big End, a different project. Translating, Milgram asked. I doubt it, Big End said. This one is apparel-based as well. Back in Vancouver, Milgram began, then stopped. Yes, Big End asked. I found a woman's purse, Milgram said. There was quite a lot of money in it. A phone, a wallet with cards, keys. I put the purse and the wallet and the cards and the keys in a mailbox. I kept the money in the phone. You started phoning. I didn't know you. We started talking. Yes, said Big End. And that's why I'm here today, isn't it? Asked Milgram. It is, said Big End. Whose phone was that? Asked Milgram. Do you remember that there was something else in that purse? Big End asked. A black plastic unit, roughly twice the size of the phone? Milgram did now. He nodded. That was a scrambler, Big End said. It belonged to me. The person whose purse you found was an employee of mine. I wanted to know who had her phone. That was why I tried the number. Why did you keep phoning back? Milgram asked. Because I became curious about you, and because you kept answering. Because we began to have a conversation that led eventually to our meeting, and as you say, to your being here today. Did it cost more to have me here today than, Milgram thought about it, more than the Toyota Hilux? He felt as though his therapist were watching him. Big End's head tilted slightly. I'm not certain, he said, but it probably did. Why? That's my question, said Milgram. Why? Because I knew about the clinic in Basel, Big End said. It's highly controversial, very expensive. I was curious as to whether or not it would work with you. But why? Asked Milgram. Because, Big End said, I'm a curious person and can afford to satisfy my curiosity. The doctors who examined you in Vancouver were not optimistic, to put it mildly. I like a challenge. And even in the condition I found you in Vancouver, you were an exceptional translator. Later, and Big End smiled, it became evident that you have an interesting eye for a number of things. I'd be dead now, Milgram asked, wouldn't I? My understanding, said Big End, is that you probably would be if you'd been withdrawn from the drug too quickly. Then what do I owe you? Milgram asked. Big End reached for the shotgun as though he were about to tap it with his finger, then caught himself. Not your life, he said. That's a byproduct of my curiosity. All that money, Milgram said. Big End shrugged. The cost of my curiosity. Milgram's eyes stung. This is not a situation in which you're required to thank me, Big N said. I hope you understand that. Milgram swallowed. Yes, he said. I do want you to work with Hollis on this other project, Big N said. Then we'll see. See what? Asked Milgram. What we see, said Big N, reaching across the shotgun for the gray folder. Go back to the hotel. We'll phone you. Milgram stood, lowering the Hackett bag which had been covering the startled-looking digital portrait of himself he wore around his neck on its lanyard of chartreuse nylon. Why are you wearing that? Asked Big N. It's required, said Milgram. I don't work here. Remind me to fix that, said Big End, opening the gray folder which contained a thick sheaf of what appeared to be clippings from Japanese magazines. Milgram, who was already closing the door behind him, said nothing. Thank you.